Hey folks, it is another edition of the Three-Man Weave. As always, I'm Max McCombs, joined by Mike Norman, Nathan Brown, and we just witnessed an 83-55 drubbing by IU of Purdue, second lopsided IU win of the season. They get the season sweep in pretty convincing fashion. Will Sheehy, the star today, played solid in the first half, and then Victor Oladipo went out with an injury. We'll get this out of the way right now. Doesn't look to be too severe. As we speak, we're actually looking across the arena and seeing him joking around with Christian Watt for his family and friends. So
you can probably hear him in the background.
You might be able to hear him in the background. So that's how you know we are here and we're not trying to pull a fast one on you guys. But anyway, it doesn't appear to be too serious. It's a sprained ankle, his left ankle. Crean wasn't sure exactly if he'll be back for the next game, but I got the idea it's looking fairly likely. They're going to evaluate him in 24 or 36 hours, but it doesn't look to be too severe. Oladipo wanted to come back in. In his place, Will Sheehy had quite possibly the game of his career. Career high in points, went 9 for 9 from the field to set a school record. Guys, what's your takeaway from this one?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just talking about Oladipo going out, I think that at least it seemed like it was just more precautionary, keeping him out in the second half. I think, with Michigan State coming up, 1 versus 2, 1-1 in the Big Ten in terms of standings, I think Oladipo is going to be out there. I mean, even if it's in limited minutes, I don't think that's a game where you're going to be able to keep him off the floor, much less,
No, he wanted to come out today when his team was up by over 20.
Yeah.
So I think any player is going to be pushing to play, and if you know anything about Victor Oladipo, he is like that to an extreme. So
that's why I think just having Sheehy then come in and showing what he can do off the bench, just even more of a confidence boost for IU's offense, knowing that if you are going to miss Oladipo for any sort of time, which it doesn't appear to be, but if you are going to miss him, next man up. And IU is very good at that, and having guys that can back up their starters to come in and make an effect. And Sheehy's career high in points, and the school record certainly shows that today.
Yeah, he always has an energy to him that no one else can really match or capture, but even more so, he had great energy, but he also, when he was putting up shots, you just felt like they were certainly going to go in after the first couple, and they obviously did.
And they did. He didn't miss one all day.
Exactly. He's
curiously, he missed a couple from the free throw line, and he was sort of beating himself up about that after the game.
It was interesting, but he's not. When you think of great shooters on this team, he's probably not the first person that comes to mind. He's always been known to have a pretty good mid-range jumper, but he hit, I think it was 2 for 2 from 3-point range tonight, and he just wasn't going to miss. It was just, he had something different this game that he didn't have. He talked about being in the zone after the press conference today, said that the best players really are able to stay in that zone for a long time, and he was really in that, I think, the full 40 minutes tonight.
Yeah, and just overall, I thought that a few different Hoosiers were really in that zone. Christian Watford, if you look at just his first half performance, had 8 of the Hoosiers' first 8 points, scored all 8 of the first points. At one point, it was Watford 8, Purdue 2. So, just a very hot start for Watford. He's one of those guys, like you're talking about. Once you get in the zone, once he gets in the zone, he's just that much better. And it always starts early with him.
Yeah, exactly. Watford's thing, and it has happened in just about every single conference game this season, is he is the guy that gets off to a good start for IU. I'm going off the top of my head here, but I'm willing to bet that he has scored the first basket for IU in more than half its Big Ten games.
I actually wrote a story about that a little bit earlier in the year.
But you can speak more on it than I can.
He has. And, even if you look at his career, and I remember this just something back my sophomore year, his sophomore year as well, he is that guy that just likes to get going early, especially, I remember sophomore year, he had about 3 or 4 games in a row. IU wins the tip-off. He takes a 3 right off the bat, hits it. IU's up 3-0 right off the bat. That's what happened here today, and that's just kind of his game. And when he's doing it well, IU is just that much better off, because it's hard, especially in Assembly Hall. It's hard for other teams to come out that quickly if IU's scoring and putting up a lot of points in the first couple minutes.
Yeah, he really. He shouldn't be someone that people ever forget to guard, but he oftentimes, when he's coming up the floor, lags behind a little bit and almost looks like people kind of forget about, that he's their man, and he, spots up, someone finds him and steps up and hits his classic three-pointer, and like he's been doing so much lately.
Kind of sneaky.
Yeah, and Crean talked a few days ago and said that Christian Watford is the best trailer he's ever coached. So I think that knack for being in the right spot and being sort of often the last guy down the floor, and then being the guy that gets the ball and takes the shot and makes it, that's not by accident. I mean, there's a skill involved with that, and Watford has that in spades.
Guys, if we could just talk for a minute about the importance of this week for IU basketball. Obviously, you come off a week where you lose a disappointing game to Illinois. You rebound against Ohio State.
Stay number one.
Stay number one, which I thought was kind of a big confidence boost, at least. I mean, I don't know how much this team really does put value into those rankings, but you come back and then you have two games against Nebraska and Purdue at home. How important do you think it was for IU to kind of have this calming week now going into probably the biggest game of the year against Michigan State?
I mean, I think these two wins, like you said, their confidence was already pretty high. Having that loss, still remaining in the eyes of at least the media, the number one team in the country, which I'm sure was they wouldn't talk about it much, but I'm sure that was a little bit of a confidence booster. To get these huge wins, you get the feeling that they're in a pretty big groove, especially after the win last Sunday over Ohio State. That was pretty convincing as well. But like you said, this game on Tuesday against Michigan State, you got to feel like if they can somehow pull this, I don't know if you want to call it an upset on the road if they were to win, but it'll be a pretty close one either way, I would imagine. But if they were to pull that one off, get a game ahead of Michigan State,
puts them in the driver's seat.
Certainly. With four games left in the conference, they would really almost be 2 games up on Michigan State because they'd have the tiebreaker after the first win this season. You gotta like their odds if they were able to pull that out on the regular season title.
Could be a big swing game there, and just also from Michigan State's point of view, it's almost kind of the home court advantage type of thing, where you've already lost one at Assembly Hall to IU. Now IU's coming to Michigan State. Have to kind of hold court with that one. But.
And going into such a big game like that, you want momentum, and I think IU is in as good a position with that as far as what they did this week as they could ask to be in. I would say that I think today's win was bigger than the Nebraska win, even if the Nebraska one was by more ultimately. But I think that was a game where they did struggle a little bit right off the bat against Nebraska, and they really were sort of, to use a Tom Crean favorite phrase, locked in all day today. 83-55 final, but the garbage time period for this game was much longer than most of what we've seen. It was all backups with like 4 minutes to go or close to it, and freshmen and walk-ons for the last 2 minutes or so. And so Purdue just started chucking up three-pointers, and they made a few of them. But the score, even at a 28-point difference today, was close. It wasn't even that close. And I think having that confidence that they played a good game against Nebraska, a better game against a better team in Purdue going into Michigan State has to be what they want.
Well, certainly the result that they wanted here against Purdue. For the first time, IU has beaten Purdue twice in a season by more than 20 points. Never has happened before in the history of this rivalry. And for the second year in a row, the Hoosiers sweep Purdue and move forward as IU kind of pursues his Big Ten regular season championship. Certainly the biggest game coming up this Tuesday against Michigan State. It's going to be a fun one up in East Lansing. That will do it for us here at the IDS. Thanks for joining us here on another edition of the Three-Man Weave. For all your IU basketball news, notes, and just anything that you can find, check out the IDS website and Hoosier Hype for more information. But for Nathan Brown, Max McCombs, I'm Michael Norman. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Peace out.